This is why you don't go to movies for your first date, people. My God. I went on a date with a nice young lady who was very attractive. She said, "Hey, let's go to the movies." I'm like, "That seems like a bad idea for a first date. We should probably talk, but whatever. You want to go on a movie? We'll go see a movie." And she said, "Fine. What movie you want to go see?" She's like, "Let's go see The Mummy." And I'm like, and I can't, because it's kind of a dick move to go, I don't want to see that, fuck you. So I bared up with it, and my God, this is a fucking piece of trash movie. I've never seen a movie just like I wanted to walk out after the first 5-10 minutes. The only other movie that's done that is Suicide Squad, and where that movie pissed me off and like upset me with like, this is dumb, that's stupid, that's stupid, that's stupid, this is dumb. I was just like, oh my God, this movie. I'm just like, stupid. This is stupid. This is stupid. Like I kept like facepalm that I had to go like. Like I just had to keep changing my facial positions because I didn't want to like. I literally the entire movie I would just be like. So I was like, this movie is awful, awful, awful. Like the entire time I was watching this movie, I was just thinking like. And I'm totally gonna steal this from Funhouse because they talked about this movie for a bit, and you know they're influencers, and I'm a sheep. I have no opinion, but they were talking about how the problem with this movie and this universe is it's just like Hollywood executives saying, "All right, kids like the shared universes. Say, let's get a shared universe. Like we need action for the men, and we need romance for the ladies, and we need a quippy sidekick best friend for the kids. Yeah, it'll be a family picture. You see? Yeah, a big family outing. Yeah, lots of big money." And just like, it just feels so old Hollywood and just like charts demos like people like Tom Cruise, people like action movies. This is a known property. Oh, Russell Crowe's there. It's just like, oh my God. I'm just gonna fucking spoil this movie. Normally I like to do this like preamble, but like, well, this is what I didn't like. This what I no fuck this. The movie starts with Tom Cruise is in the military, but he's like a rogue soldier who sneaks off between battles to like loot stuff, and then he and then he goes into this internment camp, this village, and he just like he almost gets shot. And for 5 seconds, there's about 5 seconds, I was like, fuck, I kind of want an Uncharted movie. Because just the whole themes of like people treasure hunting, being in the desert, ducking for cover. I'm like, fuck, an Uncharted movie would be really, really good right now. And then I came back down to reality and just the whole like, and I don't even remember. There's so much stuff that just happens in this movie where it's just like the place gets nuked and they reveal the temple and underneath the thing, and then they go into the hole, and then there's a scientist lady there who I guess Tom Cruise slept with like a few days before the movie started, and he stole the map for her to tell where the temple is, and they were just gonna raid treasures, and then there's a whole subplot about how long Tom Cruise jizz is, because, again, he was just like, oh, he slept with me, and then while I was sleeping, he, stole the map, and he was like, I was a passionate lover. He's like, you've only lasted 15 seconds, and then later on in the movie, he's like, hey, listen, why'd you tell him I only lasted 5 seconds? I'm a great lover. We both know I'm a fantastic lover, and I'm just like, stop this now. Anyway, they go into the temple, and the scientist chick talks about how, oh, this is an ancient burial place, and one of her first lines was just like, when I was just like, because it was just like, there was these chains going into a pool, and she's like, these chains aren't to lift something up, they're to keep it down. It's like, yes, thank you, we've realized that, like, yes, that we're human beings, we can guess that the chains are to keep it down, if it's not to lift it up, it's to keep it down. And then there's these Anubis gods all pointing towards the center, and there's this like chain around the pool pit, and it's filled with mercury. And so she says specifically, this clearly means something was meant to be kept down there. So Tom Cruise looks around and he's like, and he shoots the pulley system and he raises the thing out of the water. But clearly she said, that's like, this is supposed to stay in the water. He's just, fuck it. And then he lifted up and was like, cool, he's mine now. And it's just like, his friend stole jewels and rings from the, excuse me, from the dead bodies. They had enough treasure, and then it's just like, I don't know what he's expecting to carry this thing out, and it's just like, and then they bring it to, they put the sarcophagus on and then he trips out of nowhere. He's just like, 90% of this movie is Tom Cruise just going, just like freaking out, just like, what is going on? This is very strange. And I'm just like, you can't just have Tom Cruise react and expect people to like, get wet about it. Like, just shit happens. So they put the sarcophagus on the plane, and then the best friend, while they're transferring they hop on a helicopter, and there's a split second where like his friend has like the black thick veins and like his skin's going pale, and it's just like his friend's going evil. His friend's going evil. His friend's going evil. And they cut to him like 4 or 5 times, just like it's like the friend is fucking possessed and he's evil. We get it. So they fucking go in there, and he's just like, Tom Cruise passes out. I don't fucking what shit happens, and then he wakes up and he sees the friend just like stabbing the sarcophagus with a knife. Nobody else on the plane notices until Tom Cruise wakes up. He's just like, stab. Stab, stab. People are like, Johnson's stabbing the sarcophagus. Should you be doing that? Nah, whatever. Just let him go. And then when Tom Cruise gets out, someone walks towards the sarcophagus, and he's just like, stab, stab, stab. And then he kills him, and then everyone starts like backing in the corner, and he's just like slowly moving towards him with the knife, and then Tom Cruise is about to shoot him, and the girl goes, "Don't do that, dumbass. This is a pressurized chamber. It will explode." And I was like, okay, cool. That's how we know how the scene from the trailer, how he falls out of the plane happens. All right, whatever, fine. And then he freaks out. He shoots a friend twice. He's dead on the ground, and he's holding the gun like this. He's like, oh, sorry, what did just happen? It's like, there's gonna be a lot of this like review, and then. So the plane crashes. It crashes next to this church. Tom Cruise wakes up in the morgue, and he's just like, and then there's like, it's. So he wakes up in the morgue. Oh God, I need coffee. Just why? So Tom Cruise wakes up in the morgue, and then nobody is alarmed that he's fucking alive. Like, 2 other people come with the scientist chick in there, and they see him, and just like, oh, Tom Cruise is alive. Okay, cool, whatever. And then he's just like, and then his character's a fucking asshole, because like he died, he comes back to life. First thing he does, next scene, he's just like pounding back shots and beers, and I get it, but it's just not funny. And then he goes to the. And then the friend starts appearing to him in visions somehow, and then he goes and he goes to the bathroom and he talks to the friend, and he can see the friend. I don't know how, they never fully explain how the friend like can communicate with him, and he's dead, and I don't fucking know. And then the girl starts to explain the plot, like, blah, she's evil, blah, blah, blah. He's like, mommy's evil, yeah, sure things. And he starts seeing his friend, then he starts tripping out in the alleyway, then he meets her again. He's like, oh, no, yeah, it's real. And then she doesn't believe him, even though she told him. She's like, no, I think you're just a little headstrong, a little upset. And apparently, and then we find out she works for, I'm gonna call them fucking S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, they're not S.H.I.E.L.D., but they clearly try to be S.H.I.E.L.D. She's working for S.H.I.E.L.D., and she's not an archaeologist, she's actually like a paranormal investigator, and then she's like, you gonna come with me to London? And he's like, no, I gotta go to this church first where the plane crashed. I gotta see her body for whatever fucking reason. And then they go, and they just go, and they go, and shit happens, and they make her way to the church, and then it turns out the knife is at the church. By the way, there's a knife. So there's a knife that they broke apart, so there's a jewel and there's a knife. You put them together, you can perform this ritual that can put the spirit of a god in one's body. So she grabs a knife, but she notices the thing's gone, so they escape. They get into the ambulance. They chase them, and then she chases him down. And there is one funny scene, and all the funny scenes in this movie are Tom Cruise getting owned, where the Percy whiny scientist chick is just like, get him, do it, murder him, and she just uppercuts him, and he like flies into the air and just lands down, and she just picks him up and like ragdoll, like throws him around. I love it because it's how stupid. I'm just like, yeah, get that dumbass. I fucking hate that guy. He's a piece of shit. Then the shield comes and they like they capture her, and they bring everyone to London where they meet Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and then fuck. So they meet Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and then they explain like, blah blah blah, we're crappy shield. I don't even remember their name. That's the worst part. There's just like, oh, we fight demons and monsters, and there's little cameos like a vampire skull and all that. But it's just like, it again with the Batman thing is, this is like the DC thing where it's like, we live in a modern age, and yeah, you could say the internet's fake news and blah blah blah, but it's just like, maybe I'm being naive. We fucking noticed his vampires were real or something. Like, as we go forward more, these like, oh, secret societies that keep mankind safe, like, they worked in the past of because the fact that we didn't have technology, we were not as connected as we are nowadays. People fucking know that. Like, so if Donald Trump takes a shit, people in like goddamn Istanbul know about it. So the fact that like they're just like, oh yeah, we're a secret society and we fight vampires and demons and the devil, and I think that's the Thanos is the devil, where it's just like, really, that's a bad guy, like dark side Thanos, the devil, and like it's so bland and unoriginal. Like, don't even call him like friggin' just something cool. It's just, yeah, the devil, Satan. But then, so Tom Cruise goes down, they have her tied down, and she's he can speak Egyptian and fucking whatever, go with it. And then there is the one, and then again, another cool 5 seconds of the movie where she breaks out, obviously, because fucking what else? She breaks out of the container, and then she's using a spell or whatever, and she's like, I call on the sands of Egypt. And then she starts shattering the glass and like turning the glass back into sand and using that to create a sandstorm. I was like, that's actually genuinely clever. I would love to see something good like Avatar or something to that ilk, like use glass in sand. Like, I think that's really creative. You could do something really clever with that. This movie, but then again, it's just like, they just draw it out where it's just like, yeah, okay, cool. She's still breaking windows. Okay, cool. Still breaking windows. Like, there's that split 5 seconds where the base, I guess, shield base is underneath a museum, and it's just like, oh, cool. There's like, look at all this glass. Like, oh wow, there's glass everywhere. There's glass in your phone. There's glass in cars. Wow, there is a lot of glass, but it just keeps going and going and going, and it's just like, and then there's a scene where a sandstorm's coming, and literally, so I'll show you. The bus is like this. It's sideways. There's a hole. He pushes her out of the way, and then Tom Cruise like jumps sideways like that as the bus is like flying sideways. So he lands in the thing, which is just fucking impossible. Whatever, go with it. Then the fucking best friend goes, "Hey, my spirit can't go to rest unless that bitch dies. So let's go. Oh, by the way, I'm from New Girl. Hi." And then so he takes her through the sewer, and then the best friend slips up saying like, oh, whoops, I'm actually working for her. Whoops. Like, jeez, who could have fucking say that? And then they try and escape from zombies in the subway, and somehow they fall down a hole through the train tracks and end up underwater somehow. The mummy chick grabs the scientist chick, and she just fucking like drags her, and then like Tom Cruise loses her. He follows her, and then he just like, loses her somehow. And he's like, where'd she go? Where'd she go? And he loses her somehow, finds her. She's probably been under there for like 3-4 minutes, and then he's like, grabs her, brings her up for water, and spoiler, she's fucking dead because fucking whatever. Like, I don't know what he was expecting. She was clearly dead. She was just like floating there, just like, I don't like, what was she sleeping, Tom Cruise? You fucking moron. He lands up in this like graveyard place area. He fights the mummy. He gets the shit kicked out of him, and then she's just like, I don't want. She gets the shit kicked out of him, and then he's just like, he. She walks up and she goes like face to face, and he like starts putting his hand down, and you're like, wow, what's gonna happen? And you see the shot of his hand like getting closer, or like, her still holding the dagger, or like, oh my god, is he gonna? And yeah, spoiler, he like just like kicks her back and steals the dagger, and then this is where the movie fucking lost me. He performs the ritual on himself to get like the spirit of a god or fucking whatever in him. And then he uses his powers to, like, train her mummy powers and, like, just suck the soul out of her body. So she's, like, a skeleton again, which It's just like, what the fuck? And then he uses his, and he's trying to wake the scientist chick up, and he's like, wake up, wake up, wake up, and like he screams and like fucking, and I guess that wakes up, and there's a jump cut, and then it's like, oh, I gotta go, I'm a monster now, and then he just runs off, and then movie ends. Russell Crowe's like, oh, he's part of a bigger universe now. He's a monster himself. Maybe a monster can fight the monsters. And it's just like, oh my fucking Christ. There's way more. I cut out a fuck ton of it, but it's just like the whole humor of the best friend is just like so stereotypical and movie. It's just like there's a scene where like, what's the worst that could happen? And the next shot they're in gunfire, and then the friend, when he appears to them, the ghost, it's like, you shot me 3 times. You shot me. Well, it was only twice. It was 3 times. I know, I felt it. And it's just like the humor is so generic. The acting's generic. Tom Cruise isn't likable. His character's an asshole. He only cares about Treasure, and he's the entire time he's just like, what? And like the scientists somehow, well, I don't know what the fuck happened halfway through, but again, they're just like, oh, I love you, or whatever. They don't ever say it, but they just connect somehow. It's just like, oh, that's another way. She's like, oh, you have a rough exterior, but there's some good in you, because you saved my life, because when the plane was going down, you put the 1 parachute on me. And he's like, yeah, I thought there was 2 parachutes. And it's just like, this character is unlikable, and you are building a fucking franchise around him. Now, again, Tom Cruise is fine. It's like, this is clearly Tom Cruise being Tom Cruise. He's not like playing a role. He's not like acting or anything. I've seen Tom Cruise act before. This is just clearly Tom Cruise going like, yeah, how about that? Like, it's just so weak and bland and generic and like, just don't go see this movie. The movie's already shit. Like, I think that's the thing that hurts me the most, is Suicide Squad, both as a nerd and a moviegoer, insults my intelligence, because it's just like, fuck it, it happened, just go with it, whatever. This movie, I will give it, like, they explain a little bit better, to the fucking point where you're like, I understand movie. Where, like, they have to physically go, oh, hi, I'm an archaeologist, and I work for the UN Society. It's like, oh, like, wow, you two are, like, everyone has to explain in detail what their motivation is, or how they relate to each other, or blah, blah, blah. Suicide Squad was just like, fuck it, Harley, the Joker's like this, the Joker does that, Joker just gave Harley Quinn as a fucking bait, whatever, cool, who cares, it's just, yeah, this one hurts more because it just feels so Hollywood. Like I said, it's just like charts and demographics, and it's just like, it doesn't feel like this was a movie made with passion. They're just like, this is the safe option. This will probably yield the most profit. And I'm just like, oh my god. So yeah, don't go see this movie, and don't let your dates decide. Men, don't be like me. Grow a pair and just tell them, fuck, we're gonna go see Spider-Man. Oh, but like, I it's just, wow. That's all I'm left with. Like, Suicide Squad, I was like, fuck this movie, fuck this piece of shit, I hope the DC just blows up. This one, I'm just like, wow. Just, Jesus, wow.